Hey, it's Leo. Welcome to my channel. I just filmed this video, but apparently my camera was not on. So here is take two. I'm going to be doing the Atwood Adventure tag. This is an original tag by Jolene at Bookworm Adventure Girl, and I was tagged by Becky at Teacup the Storyteller. Both of those are fantastic channels. I definitely recommend you check them out. With each video, I lift up a different nonprofit that's doing good in the world. I'll make a donation, and I encourage you to check them out. Like, share, follow, or donate as you are inspired. This week, I am lifting up the Laundromat Project, which is an arts organization in New York. One of the exciting things about this organization is they have a year-long fellowship where they help artists learn how to create their art, but also how to be leaders and to work in the community. Originally, it was named for the laundromat because that was a community gathering space, and that is now a metaphor, they say, for places of engagement. They write, the idea of a laundromat as a primary place for engagement has expanded over time. It now serves as a metaphor for a variety of settings in which artists and neighbors transform their lives and surroundings, including community gardens, public plazas, local cultural organizations, and more. So they have a cool video too that shows some of the things that they're doing. I'm gonna link all of that down for you below in the description box, and I encourage you to check them out. All right, so prompt one. Before publishing her first collection of poetry in the early 1960s, Margaret Atwood had several other jobs, including working at summer camps. What was your first job? Well, it wasn't my first job, but I was briefly an assistant cook at a summer camp. And then I got homesick and went home. I was young. My very first job was a bagger at a grocery store, and that was okay. My least favorite part was when people would ask me where things were in the aisles and I didn't know, but I did enjoy going to fetch the shopping carts. I saw this really interesting article that gets circulated every now and then about how you can tell if a person is a decent human being by whether or not they take their shopping cart back to the cart gathering place. I just find that interesting, and I disagree. I think, of course, that it is nice to take your shopping cart back, and certainly are there people who act entitled and don't want to take their shopping cart back because they expect others to do for them. That's yes. Are there maybe grocery baggers like myself who enjoyed going out to fetch the carts, and so it was okay if they were out in the far reaches? Also yes. I just think that there's a variety of other ways. I don't know, I just feel uncomfortable with using that one measure that I think is someone's pet peeve as a way to determine if someone is kind or shows compassion or community connection. I don't know. What do you think? Have you seen that article? Do you agree? Let me know. Back to the questions. Number two. While growing up, Margaret Atwood's family spent several months each year living in the bush in northern Ontario. What is a survival skill that you have that would help you survive living off the grid? I love the answer that Becky at Teacup the Storyteller gave, so check that out. Yeah, I'm useless out there. I'll make you laugh. I'll help carry things. I can, do chores if you direct me to them, but I don't have any skills that will not, yeah. And I feel like I don't even have skills for when the robot overlords take over, because right now I'm in this battle between my iPhone and iTunes, and my computer had crashed and my new computer won't authorize the library on my old computer, and I'm in this cycle of, do you want to reauthorize? Yes, but you're not authorized. Okay, now you're authorized, but you can't download. Do you want to reauthorize? And it's going nowhere, and I just, okay, I just need to walk away. Number three, Margaret Atwood grew up reading comic books. Do you have a favorite comic book or comic book character? Growing up, I definitely loved Calvin and Hobbes and Asterix the Gaul. Those were the books that we had around our house, among others. I also want to use this opportunity to shout out my friend Darren Davis at Tidal Wave Productions. His comic book company does the ones you may have seen in the news. They do the biography comic books. So recently they've done Betty White, Little Nas X, and Dolly Parton. So check them out. Number four, Margaret Atwood is not only a poet and author, she has also illustrated books and shown her creativity in so many other ways. What are some ways that you are creative? I would have said as an author, but I'm having an existential crisis with my novel right now, and I think I might need to chuck the whole thing in the bin and come up with a new concept. So there's that. I also enjoy trapeze, and I love the piano when I take time for it. Number 5, some of Margaret Atwood's writing is inspired by myths, folk tales, and fairy tales. What is your favorite myth, folk tale, or fairy tale, and why? So mine would be Stone Soup, which is the story you may know of the strangers that come into town and they don't really have anything, and the villagers won't give them any food to eat. So they put together this big pot of water and put some stones in it and start talking about this amazing stone soup that they're going to enjoy. And the villagers get curious, and the strangers say they'll share, but it could use a little garnish, or it could use a little flavor. And so bit by bit, the villagers add to this stone soup, and they'll add carrots and meat and potatoes and all sorts of things. And by the time it's done, they take the stones out. They don't need those anymore, but there is a amazing meal to share with everyone. And so I just think that's beautiful. Number 6, Margaret Atwood's most well-known novel is The Handmaid's Tale. What is a task or chore you wish you had a maid or servant for? I wish I had a personal chef, because oftentimes I'll work on a task until I get past the point of logical thinking because of not hangry necessarily, but just like low blood sugar. I need to eat now, and then I don't always make the best choices. So if I had a personal chef, they could say, here is your healthy meal ready for you right on time. That would be amazing. Number 7, the themes Margaret Atwood writes about have stayed consistent in all her writing for over 5 decades. She writes about the role of men and women in society, relationships, religion, marriage, and identity, to name a few. If Atwood were to write a novel about you, what are some themes she would need to include? So anxiety, wrestling with my faith, arguing with God about the existence of suffering. I do a lot of shaking my fist in the sky. Laughter and goofiness, and love and friends and family. I'm realizing, again, this is take 2 on this video, that I didn't include transness in themes, but maybe identity and gender could be one of the themes that she writes about in the book about me. And there would probably be symbolism about the river. I really love the river, and I will use that as a segue to clip to some footage of me yesterday walking along the river and trying to clear my head of my novel frustrations. So enjoy. Okay, that was quick. Welcome back. Number 8, Margaret Atwood has created words for her novels. She has talked about how this makes it difficult for translators of her work. Do you have a favorite word? Why is it your favorite? So I have a few categories of words. So there are words that if you say them over and over again, they just sound like nonsense words. And my 2 favorites in that category are towel and noodle. So towel, 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 noodle, noodle, noodle. They're just fun words that sound silly. Academically, there's some words I learned in seminary that I never use anywhere, but they kind of sound fun, and that's pericope and eschaton and soteriological. But I think if I had to pick a favorite word, it would be ornithologist, which is a person who studies birds. Number 9, Margaret Atwood was born in Canada and lives in Canada now, but has also lived in other countries like the US, England, France, Germany, and Scotland. What countries have you lived in, and/or is there another country that you would like to live in? I've only lived in the US, and I'm be interested in living a lot of places. I think what would be most important for me to have is some friends and connections in the community. And I was going to say somewhere that I felt safe living as a trans guy, but I realized there's a lot of privilege that I have in that I even feel safe where I am now. So that's something that's giving me food for thought. But yes, I think if I had community, I think it'd be fun to live in a lot of different places. Number 10, Margaret Atwood is an advocate for caring for the earth. What is something that you do to help take care of the planet? So I recycle, I try to minimize my consumption and my use of plastics and minimize my use of meat and driving. But I sometimes just feel really doomed because it feels like the decisions are really in the hands of greedy corporations and self-absorbed oligarchs. So, yeah, there's that. Number 11. Margaret Atwood is passionate about animal rights, and some of her writing has included animals and reflections on animals. What is a topic that you are passionate about? And I would say dismantling white supremacy. Number 12. Margaret Atwood is supportive of new authors in a variety of ways. Who is a newer author and/or what debut novel do you wish more people knew about? So I just started this book yesterday. It is for Team Nonfiction, Contemporary, and Literary Fiction for the Blackathon. It's the group read, and it's Black Girls Must Die Exhausted. And this is a debut novel by Jane Allen. And I just finished chapter 1 last night, and it was one of those where I finished the chapter and I closed the book and thought, this is going to be good. So the story is about a 33-year-old Black woman in LA, Tabitha Walker, who pretty much has a great life. She's a local news anchor. She has a perfect on paper boyfriend, and she has good friends. And then she gets a diagnosis that her eggs are stressed and premature. So basically her ovaries are prematurely failing, and she had always wanted children, and so she's kind of grappling with what to do about that. The blurb writes that her journey brings into view the internal experience of race, relationships, and generational patterns, and how each contributed to this crossroads. She must leverage the power of laughter, love, and courageous self-care to bring a healing stronger than she ever imagined, before the phrase "Black girls must die exhausted" takes on a whole new and unwanted meaning in her own life. And this is the first of a trilogy. So again, I'm only this far into it, but I'm looking forward to finishing it for Blackathon, and I think you should check it out. All right, that's the end until number 13, which is the tag other booktubers. I did not speak as long the second time around, so I apologize for that. Next time I'll make sure that I've hit record before I start doing my video. But this question 13 is to tag some of your favorite booktubers. I have lots and lots and lots of favorite booktubers, and I can't tag you all. I should also do the Spreading Book Love tag, which Jolene at Bookworm Adventure Girl has also generated or created, and list even more of you. But in the meantime, I will just name off some of my favorites and tag you to do this great and interesting tag. That would be Margaret Bernard, Camilla at Hasty eBooks, Say Kevy, Sean the Book Maniac, Bob the Bookerer, Larry Has Opinions, and Olivia's Catastrophe. Well, that's all. Those were really fun questions to do twice. Thanks for watching. I'd love to know some of your thoughts on my answers or some of the answers that you might have to these. Let's continue the conversation in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, and until next time, happy reading.